we go. My mic wouldn't unmute. Go figure. Skype fun again. Hey, Brett, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Well, let me introduce you because there's a bit of a stall there on my Skype. What are the odds? Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box here on Tuesday night. Host Creative Guy here. Running solo right now. Tony's running some errands and doing some stuff. And special guest, back by popular remand, Brett Stellings. How are you? Good to have you. And I said the coffee was on me, so there you go.
We have coffee.
I'm a teetotaler, so.
Oh, same here. I mean, all I do is coffee and water and soda.
Mhm. No, strictly tea and water. That's basically all I ever drink. I don't touch any of the soda stuff, and some people do. It doesn't work for me anymore. Yeah. But anyway, so how you been? We haven't talked in a few days.
Yeah, I've been up and around, and they're still doing internal psyops around me. So,
no doubt.
It's just a set of whoever sold out, blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can see where people could sell out, but really, it's just a matter of holding the resolve. There isn't a day goes by that I'm not walking that edge all the time. Not that I'd ever sell out. I can't do that. I've been presented with it too many times in my life, and it certainly would have been a whole lot better what I'm dealing with right now.
Right.
So, selling out now would be kind of pointless.
Right. No, I'm not really referring to me. I'm referring to others.
I knew exactly what you were saying. Because when others sell out, they become an external asset to the ones that they should be fighting.
Yeah.
But no, it's definitely been interesting. A lot of interesting things. Speaking of psyop activities and what have you, someone's hell bent for leather to clamp down even harder on me on different levels, and shields are up, right?
Yeah. It's one of the things. Henry Kissinger took a tumble. I automatically saw that it brightened somebody's day.
Oh, what happened there?
He was at home and fell and ended up in the hospital.
How convenient.
Not that that's a good thing, but he is Henry Kissinger.
Yeah, well, I don't even know how many countries he's wanted for. He's a wanted man, can't set foot in I don't know how many countries, so his traveling abilities are kind of limited. And that's, when you stop and think about it, it's not a very big planet, and, to be wanted for, murder and stuff like that. And
No. And it just holds true to the tune that you kill 100 you kill 100 people and you're a murderer. You kill 1 million, you're a conqueror. You kill 100 million, you get the Nobel Peace Prize.
Apparently. It's all backwards here, but I think we kind of figured that one out a long time ago.
Yeah, I hate to see the Nobel Peace Prize be tainted like that, but they did that with Kissinger, the little backwards bastards that try to just be backwards and stupid and evil. And with Satoru, what the hell did Satoru do? He didn't do anything. He dropped out of the Mars program.
Yeah, when he did his Nobel Peace Prize speech, memory serves, I think he said war 44 times and peace 11.
Yeah.
So,
if
that's not telling enough for most people, I don't know.
I know exactly what you mean, and those are usually my big warning flag indicators with a lot of people.
So basically in his speech, he's 4 times more likely to want war than peace, because, right. Everyone knows there's no money in peace, apparently. But then again, you're dealing in a fictitious money world. There's really no money in anything. It's kind of stupid. Yeah. I was talking about this a bit last night with regards to human species being the only animal life that has to pay to live on the planet they're born on. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, they're automatically nuts, but it just goes to show, you look at my demeanor, I sound pissy because I'm pissy.
Actually, you sound more pithy than pissy.
Yeah. Pissy. Mm-hmm.
Pissy. You don't want to say that too loud in a good old boys country and western bar. I'm pissed off. They might look at you kind of funny.
or kind of comes across like I smell pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no chicks in there.
Oh yeah, well, anything goes. That's why I have disclaimers. So there you go.
Yeah.
And no, that's one of the things I like talking to you for that very reason is you will speak your mind, and that's all I ever expect of anyone. I speak my mind openly, and I've had my beautiful Katie potty mouth nights, and and other ones too. I try to bring it across the gauntlet, so that I think first and foremost, I want people to grasp the notion that, oh my God, Kate's human. Yeah, I am actually. I'm actually Earthling, and I'm doing my damnedest to make sure that other Earthlings aren't going to get harmed. That's what we're doing this for. At least that's what I'm doing it for. I'm just tired of seeing it in these low lives that are walking around in low frequencies. I mean, that's a reflection of us. We can get into that, but I'm allowed to be pissed at me, right?
Yeah, a lot of people vote for those politicians.
Yeah, exactly. From top on down, and it's is disgusting the word? I think it's a lot more intense than disgusting, but you've got people walking around on this planet that somehow think they're rulers and masters over others. And a lot of interesting stuff coming out with what Kevin Annette's been doing with the ITCS and passing down the verdicts and the arrest warrants and what have you. And for a lot of people, and I want to convey this, because you of all people will have a really good understanding and grasp of this. When we're dealing in an illusional world, I mean, what the mass media puts out on the big screen is the imagination they're trying to sell people into. This is what you need to be, what you need to see, what you need to have, and all the rest of it. So they direct the consciousness with that. So we're counter-directing the consciousness with the realm of possibility that these people can and will be arrested. At some point, there's the people have had enough.
Yeah, I honestly can't keep up with it. I can't even tell really what's going on or who's doing what. But they're after a large Pope group and a large British monarchy group.
I think it was Princess Christina from Spain, Juan Carlos' daughter. She just got. It looks like she's going to be formally charged in connection with some corruption charges with her and her ex-Olympic, or her husband, but an ex-Olympic handball champion. What's that like?
It's good at juggling. Hey.
Yeah, depends on. Yeah, handball? Really? Did you get a gold medal for that?
That was like, oh boy.
Yeah, exactly. But and there we are. Just poke a little fun at things, and you show people what's really going on. So,
I kind of always said that if the Queen died of like health problems or something, 10 spirits would jump out of her stomach. Yeah,
I would have to say probably a whole lot more than that, but we're definitely in interesting times. There's no question. We're in March. This is March 5th, and actually, what's that?
Drone season. I actually saw a drone a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did you?
I did, and I recognized it basically immediately, and it was over the mountain a little bit, but it was still close enough to make out the detail, and it was a drone. It was a slightly older style drone, but it was a drone.
Yeah, drones in the skies of America. All that's going to do is bring out a whole new breed of, duck hunters.
Yeah. So I got this 1974 Vietnam rocket launcher.
Yeah. and it's still functional. I can only imagine these things start flying around, and some good old boy's gonna have to say enough of that shit and let her go.
Yeah.
But and well, hey, we can get into all sorts of things. I was reading up on again. You never know what's real, but hey, we talk about it anyway, just to put it out there, because I kind of like the notion of North Korea having a super EMP weapon. For those that don't know what EMP is, electromagnetic pulse, which effectively shuts down all electronics, electrical components within its detonated range. So I can only imagine how. See, here's the thing. I'll get your opinion on this. Say you've got access to those kind of things, and Kesha has already kind of made it known that Iran has some seriously interesting countermeasure weapons that can knock out planes from thousands of kilometers away. You take a nation like North Korea. Anything coming with, if they do have this, anything coming anywhere near them, it's just like, I'm talking aircraft or whatever. It's just a matter of sending a couple of these things up and letting rip. And you start seeing, instead of birds falling from the sky, which is for me more unnerving than U.S. military aircraft or any other military aircraft for that matter falling out of the sky. I can only hope that they realize what's happening, so they can actually work their ejector seats. So they're the would-be murderers, and you can call them pilots. I call them would-be murderers. That they may be able to save themselves. But anyway, what kind of technology you want to talk about tonight?
Come on, cat, move. Sorry.
That's okay.
Cat's it's the fifth time I've pushed it away. Yeah, you got all sorts of military people to do whatever, and you're usually the belligerent male idiots that are eager to serve their country. And we've got to patrol the streets for whatever it was. I can't remember what we were told for.
Yeah, it's quite sickening. It really is.
Yeah, and they fail at that, and they become officers.
Exactly.
A lot of them.
Yeah, if you can't do your job at the street level, they'll just promote you.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of good cops, but fuck it, it's whittling down.
Yeah, I would hazard probably to say that maybe 5 to 10% of the good ones are left, and that's the whole idea. I mean, all they want in there are a bunch of jarheads that are looking to lay a beating on some 80-year-old grandmother.
Yeah, and they cut into three pieces like anybody else. So
yeah,
I mean, that's what they're looking to boil it down to something. I mean, that's reality too.
Yeah.
And it's you can wonder why they want to get rid of all the small caliber .22 ammunition. It doesn't discharge in the presence of a gravity generator. There's no mercury in the primer.
Exactly.
And so there's things in place that where they got guns in there, so they run a gravity generator next to the house or propagate it towards the house or focus it, and it discharges all the ammo. One of the cool things that actually one of the PCs I built is actually hardened to 5 terawatts at 1 meter. So yeah. So this is literally the equivalent of a 1 megaton nuke going off about a mile away, and would survive it. I'm getting feedback. A little bit.
I was going to say you shouldn't be, because I'm on headphones here.
It's picking up a little.
Really?
Yeah. I think it might be Santo. Hello. Santo.
Actually, I should. I'll tag him. I know he's online. See if he wants to join us. Talk about March a little bit and get into some heavy stuff. Wanna? Oops. Join us, Santo. There we go. So he's tagged.
Message him. It was there's a lot of things in the works that they're trying to pull, and there's a lot of sinkholes.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is your take on that? I mean,
that's basically boils down to reptilians throwing a tantrum because they kind of screwed it for themselves to intermingle and basically showed the world what they were intending to do. Hence hormones in milk. But anyways, we'll go on from there. That's not their fault. That's my fault. It's a program. That's a program thing.
Yeah.
But basically, reptilians just removed a bunch of dirt and and tantrum, and if they can't be above ground, then they'll just remove the ground under, and it's a tantrum. I mean, that's instead of you take a flash gun, you can send a whole bunch of dirt just to nothing, just to return it to a time domain, not have much left over.
Yeah, I was going to say, digging a hole out from underneath something is one thing. Where are you going to put the dirt? And you just answered that question. So, I guess you're in preemptive answer mode tonight.
Yeah, I mean that's just Al Bielek is right, and you start looking at the eastern seaboard. That's the only way that you look at the west. It's the only way that the mountains would go down.
Yeah, I heard something about that too. Apparently, in Arizona, something about a mountain sinking.
Ooh, well, that falls in line with the atypical Al Bielek scenario.
Okay.
It says that all transpires 2020 to 2025. I actually think a good part of it happens before Valentine 2014 is really the shitty time.
Well, what's your take on that? Because I know you had, being a chrononaut and dealing with remote viewing, and you didn't have anything to do with the chronovisors, though, right? Or did you?
No, I've seen some things, but I was pretty good at remote viewing, but didn't do it specifically. There's far better people out there that do that. I was more the hands-on TT, go forward and have a look thing. And
just to explain to people, TT means time traveler.
Yeah, time travel.
Oh, I know. I just kind of don't worry. You carry on. I'll jump in where necessary.
I mean, it goes along the rules. Nowhere on the planet you're going to teleport over 1.25 seconds, and that's kind of a spongy delay, even though light goes 7 times around the Earth in 1 second. There's a kind of a spongy in transition of delay, traversing distance, and being converted into a wave, and blah 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 blah. But when you TT, you do get a more of a spongy delay effect, and when you get sent forward, that equates down to a basic 10 to the 8th or minus 8th deduction. Math's wrong, but close enough.
Yeah, again, we'll keep it layman tonight.
Yeah. I mean, you go forward. There's a little bit of a time issue. It wasn't very long at all. But it went forward, witnessed a few events. One of the ones that were public about is about Fukushima. I wrote about Fukushima 4 years before it happened, titled it Japan Earthquake 2011, talked about the reactors blowing up. Just mentioned some other things. I didn't witness the event personally. I read about it in the paper in the year 2011 from 2007, and wrote about it as best I could without it. You couldn't be just blatant. The article wouldn't be there the next day type thing.
Right.
And and I still have memory issues. I still have about a week's threshold before I forget, and that really is attributed to conditioning, or is. It just is.
Exactly. Speaking of time travel, you're probably familiar with, I think, what was it, about 6 months ago or so? Might have been longer. There was a package that had been sealed in 1912, and it was, it would have been last year, yeah. That was to be opened in 2012, 100 years later. I think it was in Norway or Sweden. Specifics are eluding me here, but...
Who wrote themselves a message?
Well, what was interesting about it, and not a whole lot of people caught on too quick, when they were going through the package and what they were pulling out, they believe they pulled out a newspaper from 1919 and another one from 1914. This was in a sealed package, right?
Wow.
With a lot of information in it. It was sealed in 1912. And of course the contents, there was many different layers. There were, like I said, newspapers, there were other written documents and what have you. And of course they just do the quick, we'll just look over it and then the package, of course, now that it's open, is going to go somewhere else to keep it out of sight of public. But I was just wondering if you'd heard anything like that. And
no, actually, that going that far back, that's actually the first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there are instances like that. I mean, there's Andrew Bishago talked a lot about Washington D.C. being underwater in 2013 when he did a forward trip, and he did that from the 70s, I believe.
Right on.
I believe the late 70s. I think he said like early 70s, but I'm almost certain it was the late 70s because he mentioned titanium, and they weren't too keen on the approach of using a titanium element 22 as a rotor, as a shield, which it does actually very well, and is actually a waste product, which is why the moon has a lot of titanium dust on it, because there's a lot of alien type mining technology, and titanium doesn't deal with an electron too well and doesn't deal with other things too well, so it's actually discarded. And
isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that's why it was really bad for them to breathe in the location that they were in. It's fine where the location it is, but not too many people are in that location. They're just either doing a flyby or you just walk gently. But it's, if you or myself or anyone else went to the moon, we'd be on the ground in about 30 seconds. And just trying to maintain consciousness, you'd maintain consciousness for quite a bit. If you got past the 5-minute mark, then breathing, then you'd probably stay conscious, but then you would go into the bins and die. It would be that bad, and you would start getting really sore really quick. And people, there's no atmosphere. That's it kind of shocked me too. But they're just things that just can't be refuted. And there's a lot of titanium dust on the moon, and the astronauts found that out. And when they went again to the moon, the suits were a lot thinner. And they didn't compensate for pressure. They just pumped in a little bit of air pressure, brought it up to around 12 psi or whatever, and they acclimated and they went about their business. That's about it. I mean, you look at the thickness of the suits, and they weren't so thick next time because they had been there. And I remind everybody not to get caught up into the childlike kid conspiracy. Oh, they didn't go. No, they went to the moon. They very much went to the moon. It's obvious they went to the moon. It's also sorry. It's also obvious that they had a contingent backup plan. through the movie industry and stuff in case things went wrong. As Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong wrote in both their books, that when they got to the moon, that they were approached by greys, alien greys, people, greys.
They're real.
Greys are real and very nice and very gentle.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about I hear everyone talking about the two factions. The nice benevolent greys and the evil. Well, I guess every species has its assholes. Right?
Yeah.
I don't determine that by because all of those are that, right? So.
Right. There is a heavy-handed kind of insect-looking gray that's a little heavy-handed and stuff, and when they're fixing you up, they can't understand why you're still feeling pain, and they kind of expect yourself to detach and not feel the pain, and they kind of get bothered by that. But it's not it's not and yeah, they might utilize you because it's sensible type thing. That really kind of back in the day was kind of distasteful, but yeah, they would utilize you for and they kind of without informing you what you're doing or what they're doing to you.
How very nice of them.
Well, yeah, but people, please discern.
Yes.
The question is, isn't whether we went to the moon or not. The question is how we got back off. That is the question, and even by the physics of NASA's, description of the quote gravity of the moon, which you do jump much higher, and I mean you can jump 13, 14 feet up in the air. You kind of just step off a rock face or something, and you can really get some distance. But even by the standards that NASA tried to say it was, which was ludicrous, it would take 3 times the volume of the secondary stage lander that they left behind on the moon. They would have had to take 3 times that with them, and they left that behind. They used a gravity generator to get off the moon.
No, they have to do something, because I mean, when you see the detaching of the lunar module as it was leaving the surface of the moon, red flags go up, and this also lends credence to the whole moon hoax thing.
Yeah.
To me, everything has a contingency plan, and it totally makes sense why they ran tandem with the moon landings and the Hollywood versions of it as well.
Right.
Because a lot of that, people have to remember a lot. Yeah, it's conditioning, and a lot of what the moon was about was, regardless if they made it there or not, they were going to damn well sell it that they had, because it was a space race with the Russians.
That's right, and they were shocked to all the hell when they saw some very Russian-looking buildings that are tuned devices and buildings. They're just functional buildings. And the reason why the Russian culture has the shape of buildings, or the Russian culture,
it's Russian architecture.
Yeah, is because they depicted from a previous civilization that probably left or got wiped out or became us or whatever. And those are depicted on tuned buildings. When you talk or when you have a thought, you're feeding an energy into that device. And it utilizes a more over unity aspect of it in different ways. And so, America or the USA went a little ape shit when they thought the Russians got there. And they actually hadn't gotten there. They were just looking at the buildings and the civilizations on other planets and other revolving bodies.
Right on.
And,
I was going to ask you. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about the moon being so much older than the Earth, that it had to, and based on its position, it had to be moved.
Which one?
The one that we have currently there.
All right, yeah, that one's actually I believe that's the newer.
Yeah, the replacement.
Yeah, there's two of them. One's a smaller one, and it does a different effect, but based on the gravity that it produces and the bending of light and the distance and the effect it's doing, it looks basically the same. It just looks slightly tinier, and you really can't really discern. And even though we have an equilateral moon, people would say that it was a little bit further away. Ba-dum-bump.
Yeah.
We have what's called, science calls an impossible moon because something is holding it in place. It's actually not being held in place. It's doing an effect. It's laundering physics. It's progressing. It's doing something. And, there's several moons. One is put into place later and stuff. But they actually tilted it. They didn't rotate it, but they rotated it from 12 o'clock to about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, and that was done about 3 times last year and a year and a half ago.
I was going to mention that to you because I remember, I guess about 2 years ago, the moon. I watched this. I watched the skies, and the moon went from quarter to full in 4 days. Yeah, and I watched it, and it wasn't where it was supposed to be, and I noticed it in the same night, exactly what you're talking about. If you take it, the normal positioning is 12 o'clock. It had rotated clockwise to about the 2:33 o'clock position, and then it went back.
Well, yes, and that's exactly actually what it did. It had a few more things in there, but you wouldn't be able to tell unless you looked in the other direction.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, it had my attention, didn't it?
Yes. And in fact, I'm going to raise the sperm cell count out there for some people on the next thing I say. That's classic pissy Will phrasing, by the way. You remember that last year, when we had 4 blue moons in 1 month? The unprecedented, impossible, not pre-advertised because they didn't know it was going to happen. It was laundering effects. But we had 5 full moons in 1 month. 5 full moons. Where the previously stated, and it was been in all the books, in 98 and in 2003, that there was actually 1 year where we're going to have 3 full moons, or we're going to have.
I think you're referring to the 5 blue moons, which is two full moons in the same month.
Oh no, 5 full moon. 5 full moons would be 4 blue moons. You would have a full moon, and then you would have another full moon. That's a blue moon.
Okay, gotcha.
And we had the impossible, can't happen science the way that the planets revolve unless they're manipulated and repositioned. And we went forward 3 months or season, and then we went back 2 seasons, and then the sun did a 3/2 half spin inversion. And remember that was caught on tape.
Yeah, that was what do they call that? Quadra. I forget what they call that, but it was. Basically where there was technically two North Poles, east and western and the north-south.
Yeah, the sun spun and did a whole bunch of flips, and it did it very quickly. And that was the pre-laundering of effects in the series of that wave for those effects. And
someone got their hands on some serious fucking technology.
Well, Greys do. I mean, it takes 18 harps or round vehicles to surround the sun to control the sun, and it takes quite a few other things.
Well, again, you speak of the round vehicles around the sun. I mean, look how many times that these round vehicles have been spotted. In NASA, the GO satellite and the other satellites that are observing.
Yeah, there's 18 Earth-sized round vehicles that surround the sun. And just as you have to have 18 harps to do all effects, but you only need 1 harp to spin the Earth faster to energize that motor. See, so we term the harps now, we term them as chemtrails. They're portable harps.
Yeah, you were saying that the last show.
Yeah, and And
Did you want to maybe expand on that for the listeners a little bit?
Well, you basically just have you only need like 1 or 3 transmitting sites, and use the chemtrails to basically do the frequency to what you're transmitting, or to how you're to the effect you want to do, and you just put the chemtrail over the location where you want that place to be energized, or where where you would say build a HARP, or if you want to just keep people mentally, emotionally drugged. And because you can't build enough transmitters, then you get some pretend acting president that resides in the White House to promo mercury light bulbs as the repeater. So the mercury light bulbs is basically like in ham radio, a repeater which reamplifies the signal and just carries it further.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, and then you get those dumb people that, I'm voting for Abomination because other people did work, but we're going to give Abomination credit. So we get the Abomination phone. And then get banker bailouts and vote for him again because we're fucking retards. Sorry.
That's okay, and here's the thing, too. Voting or not voting, it was going to get put in anyway. It's a corporate office, right? They elect their own CEOs.
Well, company is company. Once shop, always shop,
Exactly.
If Santa doesn't come on, I am going to send him pornographic gerbil pics for 3 weeks, and to every email address he has. Santos?
I'm just tagging him. Hang on. Yeah, I should just drag him in. No, I won't do that to him.
People I can hear people on the radio like, are you sure this guy's for real? He sounds like an idiot.
Yes. Tony just tagged. So.
All right.
Anyway, so lots of good stuff. All right. So he just got linked up. So good. Might be able to tune in. I'm just going to tag Santo. Brett is demanding you be here. Brett is demanding. Hey, I'm putting that.
What do you think about the fact that they won't show the aerial photographs from the helicopter, and they won't peer down into the sinkhole? Because you remember that sinkhole that swallowed up that Florida guy, where the sinkhole was...
that was very recent, yes.
Yes. And the sinkhole was originally... Now, this is what I was hiding, and kind of glad to hide, but since people listen to your show...
smart people listen to this show.
Yeah. They get the real physics on this show.
They get it. That's the thing. That's the whole point of why I take such responsibility for the listeners, because I know I get the tags, I get the posts, I get I talk to them all the time, and this is exactly what needs to be got out into the consciousness, and people are hungry for the real truth, and that's why we do what we do, and take it.
It is 2013.
Exactly. It's not 1912 anymore.
Yeah, and people do need to facilitate themselves with a little bit of tools and armament to be able to comprehend, process, and combat some of the inconvenient things, and most cases is going to be a very deliberate imposing of crappiness, and and a lot of those are like chemtrails. A lot of them are treasonous asshole piece of shit pretend acting presidents in office, and that treason, and sign executive orders and try to FEMA camp people, and then send stupid cops to your door to ask for your property or your possessions or firearms, and then...
I got 2 words for that, Brett. I got 2 words for that for the typical American gun owner. Good luck. It's going to take one incident, and that's all it's going to take. That's going to be the Lexington moment, and well, if Bubba can do it.
All right. Everyone hearing this, go out, find a supplier, and get yourself some mercuryless primered ammo. Ammunition that does not have mercury in the primer. Mercury will oscillate and vibrate and discharge in the presence of a gravity generator. Round vehicles. Ammunition will discharge in the presence of round vehicles. When teleporting, ammunition will discharge. In the act of teleporting, it's in the presence of a gravity generator.
And it's going to make your fillings rather uncomfortable to have.
Yeah, that's right. Your teeth will vibrate. My fillings vibrated a lot. I had one really big one that vibrated even when I kept my mouth closed when I was teleporting. And I mean, it was actually a very, very big filling. And and it will oscillate the mercury in the primer, and it will discharge it. And the classic phrase is, "What's coming? Your guns will be useless because your ammunition will have already discharged. You won't have any ammo to shoot." So but you don't. If you see a gray or a round vehicle, you don't need to. You see a cop asking for your possessions that's stupid enough to do that. After you cut them into 3 pieces and bring them back to life, and then kill them again and set them on fire, then you've done a good job.
Then you've done your homework. You get the gold star and move to the front of the class.
Yeah, and I don't advocate killing at all. I really don't. But if somebody is dumb enough to do that,
then they're dumb enough to get the golden rule. That which you wish upon others is what you are wishing upon yourself.
That's when you have 1,000 people at their house waiting for them to get home off their work, and you strip them of their wallet and their guns, and you walk away.
Yep, and that's it. What people are forgetting too is we have the collective in terms of numbers, and we have the collective in terms of the mass awakening that's occurring right now. And the more this occurs, the faster information travels and the more intuitive people become.
Yeah. Uh-oh. You're muted?
Or more instances of that time.
Right. You went off air a little bit.
Oh, did I? Yeah, go figure. Skype, eh?
Yeah.
No, as I was saying, I said I don't advocate violence in any way whatsoever. What I do advocate is the golden rule. At which point, that which is wished upon others is wished upon self. And
and I've been gentle with a lot of others.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of this. I mean, in all of my stances, I have been absolutely peaceful to the degree that people think that they can, yank me above by the hair, step on my neck, almost break my wrist, grope and fondle and rape. That's what that is. Just because some silly fucker in a uniform with a shinier badge than the one doing it said it was okay. At what part does humanity creep in there and say, I shouldn't be doing this to another human being? In any other day and age, they'd be drawn and quartered, strung up by the nearest tree with a lot of shiny rope marks on the branches.
Well, they usually just oh boy, oh my God, they're That's
shiny branch is one worn by too many hangings. And there's going to be a lot of shiny branches, I'm telling you, for these elites. The people have had enough.
Top of that tree limb bark stripped off.
Yeah, it's because it's got rope burned. Lots of broken leg, 4-legged stools with only 3 legs on them around the bottom of that tree as well.
Yeah, I wanted to bring attention that that people weren't going to, how far did they couldn't get a person out of a 30-foot hole.
I know, that was...
and you saw the way they tore it down was that they actually poured a lot of the house into the hole if somebody was in it. If that hole had a bottom, not much of one.
Yeah, I was going to say. So what is your take on that? Just an undermining of the area, well, obviously underneath it, removing vast swaths of existent Earth into non-existent, and everything just dropping down into it, yeah?
Yeah, in fact, I think, if I'm not wrong, we might be seeing the area cordoned off indefinitely. That they'll basically clear the whole neighborhood, and that's the contingent thing, because for a sinkhole, and it goes a couple. If what sinkhole is going to go a couple kilometers, if not further, into the earth, unless there was a activity or an underground location there, and so we're going to be seeing a lot of the eastern and western seaboard lowered and inundated with water, and basically I am expecting or looking at the possibility of Al Bielik's scenario where the United States changes shape and is not the shape that it knows today.
Exactly. A lot of talk around the New Madrid Fault as well, of course, down the Mississippi Valley, right down the entire river. And, of course, when you see some of the maps that have been drawn as a result of those earth changes you just mentioned, Mississippi gets to be real wide.
Oh, yeah. That's people get out of New Jersey. The southern eastern part of Pennsylvania will get it, but Pennsylvania will be pretty much all right. There'll be a lot of sinkholes a little bit west, but Gettysburg will do really well. I was told, though, that later that it was lost for, probably on this transmission. Ba-dum-bum.
Yep.
And yep. No, I know that. I take this into account, but certain things I'm allowed to talk on without things
getting hacked.
Yeah, so it's arguable. But the stories of the Mississippi River going 50 miles wide is very possible, geographically and otherwise. Unless Al Bielik was a geologist, the West Coast looks kind of weird, unless the mountains disappeared or blew up.
Right on. Hey, and guess who just showed up?
Who?
Me. No. No, we have. It's not Santo. Somebody just showed up, and they'll talk when they're ready. Yeah, interesting. It's going to be one of those nights, is it? Okay. That was a little unexpected. So here we go. Keep them on the edge of their seats, Kate. That's what I do. No, I just want to get into a bit more. I shared last night. I had a dream yesterday, and it was quite powerful. One of the more lucid dreams I've had in a very long time, and quite monumental in its scope. Anyway, it was a huge. I can't even describe the size of it. You know the tidal wave they showed on 2012 coming in. It dwarfed it. But here's the thing.
Nice.
This it made it look like a ripple in a pond. But the interesting thing about this, as it was coming to shore, it was like I can't even fathom a guess of how many miles high this would have been from my perspective. But it was just beautifully shrouded in almost like sunshine shining through an amethyst. It was these beautiful, indigos and purples and violet, just shimmering. It was like this wall of energy, water. I can't even describe it. But so I'm standing back looking at it from like a high vantage point, and of course in dreams, well, I'm going to have a look at that from the side, and of course there you are. And I'm looking across this thing, and that's why I say it dwarfed that 2012 tidal wave coming in like a ripple. But same color, same thing. And the intent that I felt from it was to me that was the awakening wave finally come ashore. And it just I found myself back up on this high point again, running up through some trees as this thing was coming ashore, and. It's not like there was any damage or anything whatsoever, because I remember, turning around and looking down where this water had been, and there was no debris or anything. It was just wet. So it was. It's hard to describe, but the overbearing feeling on it was that this, 100th monkey wave of consciousness just came crashing ashore, and it's here. So that was the energy I got from it anyway. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. That's wild.
Yeah,
I can imagine the oceans getting up to 3 miles, 5 miles high.
Oh, easily.
I mean they're deep enough. And 3 miles high, yeah. And that would do a number. That would go an eighth or a quarter of the way into
like the United States.
Yeah, literally. Or eighth of it. The mountains are sealed, but how long are they there for?
Well, exactly. I mean, when you look at that tsunami that came into Japan, I mean, what was the wave? A couple of dozen feet.
I think it was actually 38 feet in some places and 40 feet in others.
Yeah, well, again, when you think of the scope of the damage that occurred with just that.
Yeah.
It was more like looking at that tsunami. It was more of a tidal swell than a tidal wave.
Yeah. In some places it was 10 feet.
Yeah, depending on where it came ashore. But to see the devastation of what it looked innocuous as it was coming in through harbors, and then it just started pouring over the washways and then over the road, and then this thing is it's just pouring and pushing everything in its way to the I mean, when you see the aftermath of what happened there, people have no idea the kind of devastation that water can do unless you actually experience it. And I will say, kind of a twisted way to put it, but I'm thankful for some of the videos that people managed to take to show the kind of power that a minimal tsunami can have, and that's not to make less of what came ashore, not at all. We all saw the damage, but when you factor in something that's hundreds of feet high,
and they come in 100 times faster.
Yeah, it's like, well, I don't know how much you can actually share, but you had mentioned that it was Andy that was able to look ahead to see Washington on water, right?
Yeah. He did a forward trip 2013, and was suited. He was they were doing it in a very different sense, where he was physically there, but there was also a almost kind of an inverse plasma confinement, where he was confined, but he was also there. And I guess the way that they were doing it for longer distance and getting past the 2012 place, I guess, or the inversion of the wave, was that for however they did it, it released energies and radiation that was very different, and the shielding that they used was actually titanium. So he's basically looking like a 1930s scuba diver, but with titanium splattered metal on his suit, and basically glued there, or however they splattered it. And when they sent him and basically teleported and plasma confined him to underwater. And when he surfaced, he was about the water was about 40 to 50 feet up the columns of the Capitol building. And he said very specifically, and he reiterated, and intentionally reiterated, that it was brackish water, that it was fresh water. And I have a theory on that. Besides liquefaction, if a wave came in, kind of a tsunami, and did a hydraulic pressuring of the water table, guess what?
I'm all ears.
One or two scenarios would do that. Would either be a reasonably sized wave that struck geographically the location ideally, or you had some sort of meteor.
I was going to say a deep ocean impact.
Yeah.
And that's where you're going to get that compressive energy and liquefaction on land.
That's right. and that just kind of really falls into place with everything recently. And Andy said this for over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get him on the show, and
he's currently on another show exactly right now.
Well, there you go. So, if you can touch base with him, I'd love to get both you guys on the same show and just go hog wild with whatever you are comfortable sharing, and and what isn't physically uncomfortable to share, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm not in the El Segundo CIA building, so let's talk about teleportation in Mars. And I got a nice view out the window. I don't see any drones. The dog's not barking, so.
No Black Ops helicopters,
No.
Tony's been having a few of those lately, so.
Actually, he would. I don't get that, and I honestly don't worry about that. I get a helicopter every so often for other reasons, requested reasons. But people that are not agency, they get the helicopters. They get the every so often flybys. They get the random kind of
we're checking on you kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Hey,
go ahead.
It's quite blatant sometimes, isn't it? Hi guys.
Hey Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, I'm glad I read what you wrote, because I was actually going to announce you, and I thought, okay, well, we have a surprise guest. I didn't expect Tony to show up tonight. Good to hear your voice, my friend.
Excellent. It's good to be back with you, Kate. There's a heck of a lot of stuff going on right now, but it's all good stuff. We're getting there, people. It's truly rocking home. It's really good.
Big thank you. I was going to say a big thank you. I put out a call earlier. There was a bit of an issue with bank charges and glitches, bank stuff, and whatever, and we needed to come up with $50. It was going to be racking at $10 a day, which anyone listening to us knows that we don't have $10 a day. We don't. Anyway, I put the call out, and some beautiful people came in very quickly. Henriette, Splendora, Francia, Margaret, Miranda, Chris, and I didn't get the whole list, but Sandy said she would definitely make that available, so I can thank everyone personally. Thank you for making a difference. You guys overwhelmed me today. Our goal of $50 was met and surpassed in less than 5 minutes, so my gratitude.
Nice.
Well, it helps Tony and it helps Sandy, and it was just not a fun. So much bullshit that goes on around us. I mean, I don't know if you heard, but I've just had to sell my dog, and she needs to go to a good home, and she will. And of course, that is going to help get my car back on the road. Had a catastrophic engine failure, so I have to replace the engine. So it's
what happened with the oil?
With what?
What happened with the oil? Did you have a missing oil issue?
No, it was the wrist pin failed inside and stopped all flow of oil to the upper engine.
Oh, what, on the oil pump?
No, it's actually part of the mechanics of that inside, and when it fails, you'll spend more trying to get the engine open to fix it and replace it than you will just putting another engine in it.
All right.
I'll go with the warranty, and there it is. Well, I'm hoping that the used engine will have one, but it's going to be a used engine, and as soon as I can come up with what I need to. Don't know how the hell that's going to happen, but whatever. Gabby, look, we got to rescue each other. She gets to go to a good home, and she gets to be part of my rescue, and we'll go from there. No pity parties here, guys. I hate to ask, and Adam and I am about that, but there you go. So there you go, and just to let you know, Tony, the donations were made through your website, so I'm sure more people are going to pick up the book as well, because it's there for the taking, and we really wish people would grab it. That's why it's there.
I'd like to recommend everybody pull their money out of Wells Fargo before tomorrow. and we'll find out if I'm right or wrong or not. But pull your money out of Wells Fargo, people.
There you go. You've heard it. You heard it live on Outside the Box.
Got till tomorrow.
Yeah, we have a caller. I recognize the number, so I'm going to open the line up. I've got a funny feeling this is John.
What's that?
Is this John?
Yeah.
I knew it.
John, Jim, whatever you want to call me.
Yeah, whatever you want to call me. Right on.
Hey, John, how's it going?
Hi, Brett. Hey, hey, Tony. Hey, I wanted to talk about this water issue that you brought up. There's a guy down here in Missouri. His name's John Moore, and he's got a DVD out there. I think his website's called thelibertyman.com or something like that. But
yeah,
he's got a DVD out there.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I'm familiar with him.
Okay. Yeah, he started finding out. He's been in intelligence back in Vietnam, and then he's just been like a private investigator since. And I think he was even a homicide detective anyway. But he's still kind of in that crowd, and he started meeting all of these U.S. Navy submariners down in these parts.
Ooh.
And he was wondering what was going on, and so apparently
Mississippi. Missouri.
Well, I mean, basically what the explanation came down to was that they were recommended when they were getting ready to retire. The Navy was recommending that they choose a couple different areas that they might want to retire in the United States.
That's right.
And one of them was here in the Ozarks because of our level above seawater. And
yeah,
so,
and the geologic formations of the Ozarks is actually one of the most stable in the United States, yes.
Anyway, basically what the explanation was, I mean, there were maps that these guys had actually seen where basically the West Coast is gone, the East Coast is gone, and the Mississippi is like 50 to 100 miles wide all the way up to the Great Lakes.
The side of Mississippi is inundated, but that's through liquefaction, and that's through the river.
Okay. Anyway, the explanation of what they thought possibly was going to happen was that we were going to have some type of event, and apparently the oceans at the equator is kind of like oblong. It's not completely spherical. And right around the equator, I guess it's because of the spin on the axis or what, is that it's like it's a massive wall of water. I don't know how wide it is, but it's like 400, 500 feet wide, but it's a huge amount of water. And they think that if there was some type of a disruption,
in the gravity
that thing would
generator
collapse.
That's right.
Yeah, and that thing would collapse.
One of the laundered physics on the original timeline was that the Earth stopped rotating for 3 days. We got a sunset, and Israel basically got a sunrise. And even though it's not halfway on the Earth or quite all the way around, but it's close enough. One of the things that one of the timelines on the original event was that the physics was laundered through that action. Being what we've disrupted and done, actually a lot of good things, have laundered a majority of those physics to where, and that was the reason why the sun had rotated, and that is why some of the anomalies that were witnessed with the moon rotating from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it didn't change angle, it just changed basically the time. And the moon went out a little bit further distance, and then it came in close and laundered some other physics, other things. And that's primarily the effort that's they're not inductively drawing enough free energy out of Yellowstone to compensate why the pyramids were built, to alleviate and utilize the Earth. The Earth is a gravity generator motor, and it's hollow like a basketball. There is a hollow Earth, people. There's this 800 kilometer wide sun, crystalline iron sun in the center, and that goes out during the period of 2008 to 2016. People start returning around 2016. As in the Bible, the oceans rise, and there's a great flood. And it sustains for a long time, and really the only way that you can either get that is what he's describing, or the Earth shrinks and expands, which it also does. When you lose surface area, the oceans rise, and that's basically how you could really only get a long-term rise of water. When other functions, when the dead spot of that galactic motor or the generator stops, the Earth kind of has that little fluctuation where it's not doing its function, and there's a loss of if you've ever been on a round vehicle, you don't turn 90 degrees, but you turn 245 degrees. When you take off at 10,000 miles an hour and you cut a 45-degree angle, there's no inertia. You don't feel anything. You don't even realize you moved. If you do, then something went wrong. If you feel something when you're on a round vehicle, then something went wrong. It's not like being in a car where you're pinned up against the seat or the side. And the inertialess flight is very much also what the Earth does. The Earth is a gravity generator receiver and receives free energies from the sun. And what the gentleman is very much talking about is the Ozarks are very much a safe place. Sorry about that. I had to give that promo.
Yeah, there's also the element of the four corners in there as well, isn't there?
Yeah, well, it's 5 points, a sine wave, a three-dimensional sine wave. You just put it through the Earth, and when you compress it in a coil or a helicoil, it's a field.
Interestingly,
it can be. Yeah.
Interestingly as well, that sine wave can be viewed in 3 dimensions as a spiral.
Yes. John, I know you. Right?
Well, there's someone else on the call that knows you as well. So I just brought them in. So go ahead.
Hey, what's going on, Brett?
How you doing?
Good. How you doing? I heard you talking, and actually there's like 3 things I wanted to say real quick. On what you're saying in regards to the Earth change, I recently read something, and I know on the internet, they got something new, constantly, so you never really can necessarily trust what you're reading, But
right.
Something, and I hate to kill this, because, after 2012, every conspiracy nut was saying the Nibiru thing, and, obviously if a sun were just to show up, not only would we see it, now, which some people claim they have on camera, but you wouldn't have to worry about Earth changes. We'd just be dead, if a sun got that close, right? As big as what they were saying.
Not quite. Remember, you're working with gravity, so gravity will bend things. Look at our sun. How come it looks so small?
Right.
When you're on a different planet, the sun actually looks a little bit larger, quite a bit larger.
Okay. So, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're also bending the light in, but you're also bending it around.
Yeah, but our atmosphere is different, so it would appear a little different.
Yeah.
They're saying that there's an object somewhere between us and Venus, and it's going to become apparent, and that's what, the Zacharias fiction, all his prophecies, kind of come from. It only shows up every so often, and it's going to come close enough, and I guess with all these asteroids kind of starting to hit, that's what they're basing this evidence on, and once it gets to a certain point, it's going to flip the Earth's axis within, hours. And you kind of bunk on all that.
Well, when people say pole shift, The top, when people detect like the magnetic field with a compass, they're not detecting the north or south pole really. They're detecting the top and bottom of a gravity generator, and that's why the compass goes nuts at 18 degrees. If you follow.
Yeah, and because they were saying like Brazil would become the new North Pole.
Well, that was actually on one of the timelines where that wasn't out the window completely. And, but, if the center spins and the outer shell doesn't, and you utilize that torsion in a different way, then could very well be. But, might the United States be at the North Pole? Might Greenland be back to being Greenland instead of ice?
Well, I'm thinking I need to give Jose Barrera a call. He just moved back to Brazil.
No.
And also, one other thing that's like related to the topic on Mars, because they say that it doesn't have an internal core that's functioning right now.
It doesn't. There's no earthquakes on Mars.
No earthquakes. Okay, so is it possible that something at some point made the oceans go underground in Mars, and could that happen here?
Well, when you teleport to Mars or you go to Mars, you'll notice that you're inductively heated quite more noticeably than on Earth. There's a big difference. You're heated from within. You're inductively tuned, and you notice that when you're on Mars, it could be a little cool out, and also in a very bizarre way, you can warm yourself up by wanting to be warmed up.
Okay.
If you can understand that.
Yeah.
And Mars is a fractured planet, and it's simulated as a functioning planet. It is basically a fractured planet and has two north poles. When you get to Mars, you'll notice that there's two north poles, two south poles.
Right.
And those are a magnetic, or basically that simulation of, but it's definitely a fractured planet. It's broken. It's a broken motor. It's a broken roller on the motor.
Can I
go ahead.
Just mention a couple of things there? Henry Deacon as well was talking about a lot of aspects of the war on Mars, and what actually wiped most of the population out on Mars. Do you know anything about that, Brett?
Say that again.
Henry Deacon.
Yes.
Project Camelot. Was talking about Mars and the war that occurred on Mars.
Oh, yes.
Wiped out a lot of the population. Do you know anything about that aspect of it?
Yeah, I do. I don't like bringing this up because I get bashed over the head with it, and I know I will be.
Which is why I bring things up.
This is why I love you. Mars was a kind of a vanity war. It was a stone-throwing war when the Greys took the technology away because it was being misused. It turned into a stone-throwing war where somebody had a round vehicle, would drag a rock and drop it on their prized city or prized deity or whatever. When you're on Mars, there's like there'd be like a rock carving or a rock shape that's in the shape of a face, and would have another face on the side of that face. And if you were at the right distance and looked above it, you would see a larger face made out of that face. And it's basically the road signs of Mars, or it's a perception game or perception thing. And that would give indication that something was maybe congenial in that location. It's a very perceptual thing there, if you went off in a direction, you would pile a rock on top of another rock to give indication that somebody was in that direction. When you came back, you would remove it there's just lots of rocks there that are on top of other rocks because some people didn't return. There's a lot of predatory life on Mars. I mean, there's things that are very fast that you can't outrun. There are things that are very slow, but you wouldn't realize that you weren't looking at a rock. a lot of the creatures there are actually stained with the same type of stuff that the rocks are stained with, and there is there's very much an odor on Mars. Smells kind of like an oceanic rotten smell, very very mild but very uniform. And actually, in a very bizarre sense, and this is going to trip out a lot of the listeners, is that it very much smells like women's fake nails. If you took women's fake nails, set it on fire, blew out the flame, and then threw an aroma of unburned diesel fuel number 2, that's Mars. And yeah, and there's also some quite a bit of sulfur around as well. Whatever devices and weaponry were used, fractionated or inundated the surface with sulfur.
Hey guys,
I know John wants to jump in here.
Yeah, I've got to cut and run. I'll have to listen to the rest of it later. But excellent show. But hey, Kate and Tony, would you do me a favor? I'm trying to get Santos onto a show. It's called the Collective Consciousness Show.
Okay.
It's been going on for about 5 years.
Hey,
every
John,
Thursday
do me a
night.
favor? I went looking for your Skype and I can't find it. Can you just maybe tag me on Skype, Miss Trumpets? You have my contact, right?
I'm sure I do. Mine's just all lowercase John Galt and then the number 1. John Galt 1.
Calling you.
Okay. But just in case, I'll give you mine, katie.renee.thompson. Cygnus Trumpets is my handle, and we'll definitely hook up. Yeah, I tried looking for your Skype later on after you mentioned it, and couldn't find it. And I was going to, swap contact so you could actually talk to him direct.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, I've got Santos on, but he's never on, or at least not when I'm on.
No worries.
I'm always waking up at like 3 in the morning.
What's
Standard.
that?
And he's always so nice. I feel so bad. He's always so pleasant. He's, hi, William. How you doing? Oh, I'm sorry, Santos. Were you sleeping?
Yeah, you do that to me. You do that to me too. But I have mine on Do Not Disturb, so I can't hear it ringing. I see it in the morning. And go, oh. And then
anyway. Okay. Hey, good show, guys. I gotta go.
Hey, John. Take care, and I'll hook you up.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Anyway, so there we go.
Could I give an indication about Mars?
Can you what?
Could I tell you something just informative about Mars?
You can say whatever you want about Mars, my friend.
When you get to Mars during like mid-noon or midday,
right.
when you look up, the sky will be a lot darker than on Earth, and besides the horizon being closer. But very notably, when you look up, you'll see the sky's a lot darker, and Phobos will go from west to east because it's going faster. Phobos was actually a temperament weapon. It was like the more impressive continuous harp of the day. That was not only a congeniality of like what the pyramids were built for, being gathered around a gravity generator and a more conducive, better, higher energy or higher level frequency of living, but was also some other things that was being kept in place for the potential war that broke out. And it was a very disobedient, asinine mess maker, which is actually what all the sinkholes are all about, people, and I'm not kidding. And yeah, I'm going to say that. Because you know why? Because they're being little messy little shit. That's why.
Yeah. There were several different points I wanted to sort of like mention, a lot of which I've actually forgot. But one of the things that I wanted to actually touch on, Brett, was the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've gone out and I've released this information before, but I'm going to do it again. This was the actual the wake up situation whereby I ended up with the MIBs and all that in my ass because I released this information. I've sat down with some of the most incredible people, Samas Ramovic from the Bosnian pyramids, etc.
Oh wow!
And many others, and talked about this sort of stuff. I'm going to keep this really brief, but if you, people have always heard about the Knights Templar. Well, the Knights Templar were Knights of the Pyramids. They were the pyramids are the temples. And it was the understanding of the sacred geometry encoded within the pyramids themselves and how the geometry functioned in relation to the other stars in the galaxy, etc. And how, the pyramids are aligned to north. They're also on energy ley lines. They're also, mirroring as above, so below, which is Orion's belt, etc.
Right.
And it's all linked. Everything is harmonic.
Yes.
And that information when I released it, that sort of caused quite a bit of a stir, to say the least.
Oh yeah, When did you release that?
It's an understatement, absolutely. But that is the point. The secret is, you see, when you understand the information of the Knights Templar, which are again hidden in degrees, etc., which is the same sort of information that's hidden within the Masons and the Priory Sion, the Vatican, the Roman Empire, blah blah blah. The list is endless. The point of the matter is, because when that information comes out, this is why the Knights Templar were so powerful, because they could bring down the church in a second.
Yeah. Gravity generators.
Absolutely. The information that the pyramids are a lens. They focus in on the stars, and they draw ebb and flow energy from one star to a next. It's a bit like when the moon gets close to the Earth, it creates a high tide.
Yeah. You take a functioning pyramid, and you'll see the clouds go around it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Iceberg.
Yeah, and those were very much geological locations, as when those energies were there during that time, and they go in well, it's actually 7, but steps of 5. But other people are better on this part than I am. But basically, it really boils down to the location you do it, having either water, bismuth,
aquifers.
Yeah, aquifers. Having the element bismuth, or having access to scarab beetles. In our day and age, we use bees, basically. That's why the government has been actively killing off all the bees in America and in the world with HAARP and doing a bacteria kind of virus mix. And it was because if you take bees and you get a few plates and you oscillate a particular frequency, you can glue them to the bottom of a piece of wood or whatever and float.
Yeah. Again, the bee should not be able to support its own weight. It isn't the bee's wings that allow the weight of the bee to fly. It's the harmonic resonance.
That's right.
That the chest cavity in the bee actually generates to create what could be termed as it's not even electro, it's harmonic gravitic effect.
That's right. And bees don't fly, they levitate. They produce their own resonance, or their own oscillation in their own exoskeleton, and they don't have, even by science standards, even admits that bees do not produce enough surface area to be able to lift their bodies off the ground. They do so because they're doing it like a round vehicle. They're producing their own gravity, and they're levitating. They merely push a little bit of air for stability and maneuvering. And that's it. That's why when you put a bee in a sealed glass tube and just fill the top part full of helium, the bee cannot go into the helium layer because the frequency changes and it cannot oscillate that gravity.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I've done that experiment myself. And
I heard one time that the Zeta Reticuli greys had a genetic similarity to bees or praying mantises, and it's one way they got their technology or something.
Sort of. All insects evolve from plants. That's where the insects come from. They come from plants. They evolve from plants. There is a genetic relation. And that will translate, and that wave translates to, things that develop and whether they utilize or not. Plants are very, very, very good at remembering things and learning from remembering things.
Can we make a distinction here? Because evolution, the way that people are hearing the information, isn't actually true.
Right? No, not at all. Not at all. And we didn't evolve from apes. People have pretty much always been. And
well, we've been genetically engineered.
We've been genetically engineered, and we are actually one of 3 species in the multiverse universe that is of an even-numbered based element. All the other forms of life in the universe multiverse are an odd-numbered element, like copper or antimony or whatever. And but we're a very rare special species that are an even-numbered base element, or a rotor.
Yeah.
We are a rotor.
There are many levels to that story alone. We could have a whole show on just that without any problem whatsoever. But one of the things that I wanted to put forward was that we are a collection of races from other planets.
Mm-hmm.
And how can I approach this? If you imagine you've got Chinese people, you've got European people, you've got black people, you've got, and I'm not being anywhere near any negative towards anybody.
All the shills will pull the race card anyways.
Pardon?
All the shills will pull the race card on you anyway, so go ahead.
You know what I mean? I'm trying to be honest with people without trying to be. I'm not being disrespectful.
No, I know. They'll pick on you.
Yeah, you're just explaining what is, and people need to get past that and grow the fuck up.
Exactly. Well, again, here's another blow for the powers that be. Why do you think, if you do some research, okay, this is going to shock the shit out of a lot of people. Okay. Why do you think Hitler sent expeditions out to Hollow Earth, to hunt for the Holy Grail, to hunt for the Spear of Destiny, to hunt for the Ark of the Covenant, to hunt for the true Vedic teachings? He sent expeditions out to Tibet. He sent expeditions out all over the planet in search of esoteric information. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just beginning to explain something that's absolutely huge. But the point of the matter is, he did do these things. He also sent expeditions out looking for Sasquatch. Think back to Star Wars. Chewbacca.
Yeah, chewing tobacco.
Exactly. We were engineered with the actual hominoid species on Earth. Yes. Again, Brett, I can see you biting your tongue. Yes, we were engineered with.
I actually think he's
we were improved upon.
Yeah, I think Brett's getting the picture of you in a set of darts. So yeah.
Hey, I'm only telling people the truth.
Is it Sasquatch? I've heard this before, that there's like 4, at least in modern, there's 4 variations of the species, varying in size and whatnot, but they were like the original hominid species of the planet before the extraterrestrial species started tinkering around.
Exactly.
Well, we've been helped a little bit and modified to a very reasonable stance to progress, and that's the most important part, was that the
which actually I got to bring this up, which just brings me to a level of astonishment that the level that the humanoid form has been brought up to, and there's people shopping at fucking Walmart. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
There's people driving vehicles voting for Satoru. I mean, good God, they're still out there, but God.
You know what I mean, though, right? It's just...
Yeah.
here we are, the prize of the universe, and hey, what's for sale? You know, like, oh my God, if they got your ass on. You know, get out of Babylon, guys. Time to be the gods that we're supposed to be.
This basic survival. You buy 10 pairs of shoes at Walmart. You go there once, if even at Walmart. You buy a lot of chocolate. You take some water with you, and you get some food, and you go to Mars. That's it. It's, shoes are actually a good thing to have, always.
Well, I'm not even going to talk about that topic.
Well, that was an important program that me and my father actually instituted because it was such a big deal to people there. You know, that was actually a really nice convenience and a big deal to the other people on Mars, the humanoids, and you know, there was a group, a foot tall humanoids that actually the baby shoes wouldn't even fit, and you know, I couldn't like really reciprocate. You know, I was taught, certain things about how to build a building as far as tuning it, for what, and to learn, this is going to be like this is like the energy aspect of it, and this returns and this sends out to there to tell other people or things to stay away. And, or what was in the location, a consciousness kind of a feel. And in some cases, a very, very brutal, Jane Fonda look in the 1970s, you would swear you're out in a 1970s movie, kind of disruptor gun, which are really fucking nasty. And I mean fucking nasty. That's the brutal, uncivilized version of brutality. Is those things? And I mean that kind of sends you that kind of sends you halfway to a time domain and halfway not, and kind of halfway cooked and just kind of halfway everything. It's just you're frickin' a part of something is left liquid and the other part isn't.
Sounds like a fun toy. I can never fathom the kind of mind that would create something like that. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's a device. It basically looks like a horizontal Tesla coil, but it literally looks like something out of a Jane Fonda Barbarella movie type thing. And I mean, that's you can imagine what fancified or what fancied those movies was actually what fucking destroys Mars. Fucking assholes.
Yeah, what is it about destruction with the consciousness? It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Like haven't we got enough infinity to build instead of destroying everything that we do build?
Well, this is the point.
Yeah.
What we need to do is liberate the technology that we actually do have and be in a position to actually utilize that technology and, change the human race species forever, which is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, to keep the military from not being stupid at the last minute.
Well, it's not stupid, it's calculated control.
I know.
Here's a philosophical question with regards to this. When you talk about one of three species in the universe that is even numbered, what resonated with me immediately on that was, and I've always known that humanity is the prize of the universe. And it's almost as if, this engineering, that we've been through in terms of the body and what have you, was a whole lot better than anyone expected. And because of that, they never wanted us to evolve to our true potential because they would lose control of the universe.
Exactly, which is why your atlas has been disconnected, your DNA has been turned off, your RNA has been turned off. We've been fed full of shit and fed full of poisons.
Well, let's keep in perspective. It was done in a period of time when it was necessary to do in a period of time. it was keeping in the crib when the crib was required. And, as a lot of people are feeling, our DNA is becoming active now. And thoughts are translating and feelings. And I'm like naked 5 times a night in the federal building, when I sleep. Pissed as hell. Yeah. Getting me fired from jobs and everything, to try and upset me to see if my pattern would change so they could try and get information, when they were concerned about shit like that. It's just a glorified, scaled up version of that with the military, with them trying to pull shit, and also preventative stuff where, there are nuts out there, that's for sure. I've had a few window crawlers, but
well, that's the thing, though, Brett. I mean, we're dealing with a bunch of jarheads that have technology. It's like, and I've said it many times. Here, quick, let's hand a 5-year-old a bucket of naphtha and a book of matches and see what happens. We have another caller in here, by the way. Just want to let the caller know. Area code 774. Your mic is hot, so jump in when you see fit. It's
great. Hey guys. It's Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. I don't know why I was expecting 713 with that, but no, now I see it. It's you. Yes. Anyway, so carry on, guys.
Well, I was going to ask Brett if he was familiar with any kind of technology used to create things with sound. Like, I know sound, in ancient times, I'm sure it was used as used for creation and whatnot. I really don't know much about it, but can the physical body harness any kind of sound like that?
Yes, it is very much so. We're very yes, and it depends on your style of approach or the way that you're approaching. Is for some of the gravity generators, you would use sound. You would use a vibration. Some other things. And creating a low end kind of approach that I wanted to do with John Hutchison was actually doing a massless state entry on, forming a shape on frequency or on wave, and building a gravity lens, but including, and here was the trick, but including the bismuth into the silica in a massless state, tuning it like he did with the aluminum block, and the knife fell into the aluminum block. The aluminum went into a massless state or higher energy state. And one of the tricks that I came up with was actually using sound to do the very specific alignment of that bismuth to kind of a Fibonacci, kind of a spiral, kind of an alignment. And but yeah, creating something like that is very much very, very possible, and is utilized at one point or another for certain things.
Beautiful. What generates that sound that you use to?
Well, sound generator. You could.
Or just a sound generator.
Well, you could do it on the principle of a couple atoms being next to each other, and just finding the right isotope to whatever effect you want to produce if you're using the right element. You could basically generate it like that, and when you move an atom via vibration or sound, you are moving something on a massive scale. It would be the same as being able to shout and make the planet shake. Correct? So when you have that kind of energy translation, you're moving things on a massive scale. And as all the energy in an atom is an over-unity device, or a gravity generator motor, is an over-unity device. When you shake it, you get a torsion effect or an energy translation that is like no other, and that can really translate on a celestial level. And we are co-creators. It is both a fixed and observable universe. We do the same in different forms.
I see. Excellent. Beautifully stated. Thank you.
Yeah, you move from being the dreamer to the dream master.
Well, I've been naked in a few federal buildings, sir, so I've had my practice.
No doubt.
I have a quick question for Brett. I was reading an article earlier on. The normie, I'll just say that hasn't looked into alternatives. They'll tell you, if you go on Mars and you take off your helmet, you're dead in a second. You hear the basic mainstream science. And today they were talking something about Europa and that how because it doesn't have an atmosphere, if you took off your helmet, basically your lungs would freeze up like if you were on Saturn. But I was going to ask you if you've done anything besides Mars. Experience.
No. I have not been to Europa. I have talked to people that mentioned it 20 years ago, and I had no clue what the discussion was. And it wasn't until much later that it dawned on me what it was, and I was just like, Europa is inhabited. Europa is specialized to... One thing about Nibiru coming by, or people, there is a planet and there is a system that does go by. That main power source of that system is actually the element bismuth, element 83, and I termed it always as the bismuth star, the bismuth planet. Is that its main power source utilizes the element bismuth, what people put in makeup and blah, and it actually reflects and shows in the reflection of the physics. If you look at Nibiru and the depictions of Nibiru, how it has the two horns that come off, that is the symbol for bismuth, the chemical symbol.
Okay.
You see?
What was the element that Lazar was talking about?
Bob Lazar, there's geometrically stable elements in our periodic table. One of them is antimony, element 51. Bismuth, element 83, that's 32 protons up from antimony. 32 protons up from bismuth is Bob Lazar's element 115, mass 299. Has 184 neutrons. Then there's my element that's basically on the front end of most submarines in our fleet and is utilized in the underground transport system, at least in the old style way. Now they just basically run a fully tuned to the platform gravity generator. But in that day that they were basically, from what I remember or what I gathered, or if I didn't convolute, they were running element 147, mass 405, with a gravity generator behind it, and that produces a boundary layer on the material to where the air would not come into contact with that hull, and therefore was no friction. The air would take all the inertia, and that way you could have a 2,000, 3,000 mile an hour in a tunnel system transportation system without producing a shockwave in a tunnel system.
Essentially letting you go exceed the speed of light, or like you're doing even in Is it similar to like the jump gates that you in Bishago?
No. What you're doing is when you run a gravity generator behind certain elements, some of those naturally geometrically stable elements, element 179, element 211, 243, 275, they would all have a geometrically stable island to them. Or, oh boy. Element 147 would produces a boundary layer effect to where if you're running a gravity generator or doing some things, it will levitate against all matter, or anything with an atom, that's all matter, and will levitate or push against it. And that boundary layer effect is pretty much like a it's a gravity generators, just how you would pick up, say, pyramid blocks. You would cut the uniform shape of a very predictable uniform mass, cut it the shape, and you would tune it to that shape, and that shape would produce its own gravity based on it being tuned. So the mass of the granite or the limestone became its own gravity generator, and it would just take 3 or 4 people to move it into position, lift it off the ground, or it'd already be lifted off the ground. And, in some cases, that wasn't the case with all the pyramids, and a lot of the pyramids had different things about them. There's a guy who I'm promoing, and here's where I get really sloppy, but put up with this. This is the promo plug. Sorry. I'm a dork. I'm a total ill...
No, geez, Brett, just shut up and talk, will you?
There's a guy who wrote a book on the pyramids. I just spoke with him, and the lost technologies of the Great Pyramid, and he has really covered a mass majority of how the pyramids were built. A lot of them poured concrete, a lot of them used water, a lot of them lifted them into shape, a lot of them used I hope he has that one in there, but scarab beetles were used as the gravity generator. They have a couple people in the pyramid agitating up the scarab beetles, and their wings, they would oscillate at gravity, and when they had the right amount of water and the water in the right place, that water would oscillate at gravity as well. Hydrogen does not have an electron. Gravity is inherent in all matter. It has a tendency to propagate towards the electron shell. The electron shell is borrowed by the oxygen. It oscillates at 19.5 degrees, and when it does, you get a propagating extended gravity past that electron shell, and that produces a gravity. I'm a slut. I'm a technical slut. Thank you. And when you do it through copper, it's really...
You're not a slut. You're a truth whore. There's more dignity in a truth whore.
Dignity. God damn it.
There you go.
I sell myself short again. I'm a total truth whore. I'm a truth whore. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just going to drop something else, a couple of dots connected there. Thanks, Tone. Yeah, it's amazing how things... Oh, yeah, click. Anyway, Europa, you go back to the movie 2010, right?
Uh-huh.
All the planets can be yours except Europa, and I've heard more than one story of that's where the masters choose to live.
Well, it doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't.
Let's get... I have to put that in there.
Yeah, again...
Europa is very, very nice, is very pleasant, and is the center for a lot of things that make a lot of things function congenially or some things. It is for peaceful people, not for government, not for people that want to go do vain things like...
Yeah, I mean, here's the $64 million question. What do we got to do to wake these dicks up? Seriously, I mean, when you see the potential of what's lying before us, and some people are still stuck in the playing with Tonka toys and Barbie dolls in the sandbox, and fighting over them like it matters.
Yeah.
It's like
you'd think I'd have to flip the White House on its side on March 27th at 8:05 in the morning just to get somebody's fucking attention.
Yeah. Apparently. So 8:05, March 27th. What was it?
Quiet.
Oh, hey, it's me.
Got archives. Quiet.
Okay, sorry. I didn't mean to repeat March 27th at 8:05 a.m. White House. I didn't mean to say that again.
What? Okay. Could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch it.
Oh, I think it'll be in the archives. I think we said it 3 times, so the magic spell is sent.
No, stop it. Oh, my God. No things like that.
I know. Yeah, well, hey. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap going on, but I just got a nice automatic cloud layer that just came in.
Nice. There you go.
I looked up, the sky was completely clear, and I looked up again, and it's completely rain clouds. So.
Oh well.
Wow.
Well, just move that cloud out the way. It'll be fine.
Europe is a very pretty, wonderful planet. never been there. I've heard it described, and honestly, if we can, it's a no topic.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, thanks.
That works for me. I mean, there's enough ambiguity there to pique enough interest in the consciousness to go, what the fuck's up with Europa? Let's have a look.
There are 3 suns in our solar system, 4 right now. Saturn is a sun, Jupiter's the sun, and
Uranus.
Yeah, we have ours, Sol.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know that. Saturn is a sun, even by science standards. It puts out more energy than it receives. Therefore,
a gravity generator.
Well, that too. It's a multitude of things. Our sun is a multitude of things.
What was the 4th one?
The 4th one is actually Nibiru, what people coin as Nibiru. It's it's quite different than a sun. It's what people term as brown dwarfs aren't really brown dwarfs. They're generators, and it depends on what element it's using, and that inductively heats that planet more so than even on Mars. I mean, when you're on Mars, dude, you're disconnected from the consciousness of Earth. You inductively are tuned and heated differently. It is very much the same as being a kid and going out in the sun and knowing that the sun feels different, that it's also heating your backside. Even though your backside feels a little bit cooler, it's still heating up a little bit,
Yeah.
It's a very and it's an EM effect. There's a difference between steel walls and whatnot. There's an energy transfer there that is very much be coined as inductive. We are tuned to that energy. We are tuned to a gravity wave. Our mind, body, and spirit is tuned to a gravity wave. Just as me and my father told NASA that they'll never chemically find the bone problem in space, the answer is you take gravity with you. You take a gravity generator. We are tuned to our gravity. Our DNA is tuned to a gravity. Our thoughts propagate on a gravity wave. Our thoughts are instant. As the Lord said, I hear you instantly, because our thoughts propagate on a gravity wave in its propagation propagates instantly. 10 to the 8.
Which is why they want to keep our mind so busy, wrapped up in the left analytical, that we don't take the time to meditate and allow those thoughts to really, really, really generate. So
that is why they put out sexual self-heating lube, condoms, football games, commercials, shopping at fucking Walmart. The mentally drugging stuff is really, and people are really probably don't know why I say this, but it actually is all right, is good. People find a niche to where they can comfortably develop. That's good. That's fine. What society does with it sucks ass. And becomes a politician in time, and gets into Congress, and dicks shit up, and gets selfish, and corrupt, and evil, and then John Kerry, and then eventually reaches the White House.
Yeah, all of that.
Guys, we got 3 minutes left here. Brett, would you be into continuing this conversation tomorrow night? Because I don't even think we scratched the surface tonight.
Oh yeah.
Because I know the listeners, this 2 hours just went by like a fart, popcorn fart no less. So yeah, if you're into it, I'll book it right after this show, and we'll just do a continuation of tonight, because there are a lot of things that we haven't even touched on. That I mean, even with the calls that have come in, it just opened up whole different cans of worms, and I think there's a lot of information here that is worthy of tracking down. And if you're into it, I'd love to have you back. We'll do another
That'd
one
be
tomorrow
great.
night.
Love to.
Yeah, that way we can continue this on and keep that frame of mind going, and the back-to-back works good too, because you can get back-to-back downloads, and that way you'll be able to remember March 27th, 8:05 a.m. Anyway, big thank you to Paul and Lisa, Critical Mass Radio team, and the crew there that allow us this opportunity to say things like March 27th, 8:05 a.m. I'm sorry, Brett. I'm just being a prick.
This is probably going to curse it.
No, it's not.
That's all right.
Hey, listen. Yeah, we got 90 seconds, but we're going to do, this is part one of a two-part show. We'll continue this tomorrow night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Critical Mass Radio Online. And hopefully, Tony, if you can, we'd love to get you back in as well, because we can cover a lot of stuff. And, Jeremiah, and was it Bill?
John.
John on the, oh no, we had John earlier, the other caller.
Oh, Matt.
Matt. Okay, yeah. So if you guys want to pop in tomorrow night, we'll just continue this.
I know who that is. Matt. Hey, Matt. All right.
Okay, so we'll just continue this on tomorrow night. We got a little less than a minute, so don't worry about feeling pressured about getting information out, because we'll just carry it on tomorrow night and really have some fun. And I won't talk about April 19th either.
Killing me. I'd like to say thank you to John.
Oh, hey, this is your show. I mean, I'm just the dyke that pushes the button, so it's all good. That's all I do. But anyway, listeners, thank you guys so much, and again, thank you for that outreach earlier. I hate asking for anything. When it comes in the way it did, it's very overwhelming, and you need to know you've made a large difference. So thank you so much, everyone. Any final words, guys?
Carry on, Brett.
Well, we're in the recording now, so it's all good.
Oh, I'd like to thank John for showing up.
Yeah, John. He was on last night, and always brings a lot of really cool stuff to the table, and has definitely got a good perspective on things. I'm going to try to get him hooked up to Santo. As it turned out, actually, he was on my blocked list because that hack I had a little. I guess how long ago was that, Tony? About 4 or 5 months ago. My Skype hack.
One.
Oh no, the one where my whole Skype got stolen. So anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, Tony, I've got him back in my contacts. That's why I couldn't find him. It's like, why can't I find this guy? Why can't I add him? And that's why, because I did a lot of blocking to protect some people. So anyway,
John's
guys,
gone through one heck of a process. That's
no doubt
incredible stuff.
Yeah, and actually, Tony, if you do have a few minutes after the show, I wouldn't mind hooking up with you, just to have a quick chat and let you get to sleep. I know where you are is not conducive to that, but if we could, that would be awesome.
It's done.
Okay, my friends, so we'll call this a night, and thank you all for being here, and to all the listeners here on Outside the Box with host Creative Guy and co-host Tony Z. Awesome to have you here. And, of course, special guest Brett Stillings, who will be on with us tomorrow night, and other special guests Matt, Jeremiah, and John, who will likely be on the call tomorrow night as well. So much love to everybody. Safe travels, and bring your can opener. We got lots of cans tomorrow night. Love you all.
God bless.
Beautiful.